Ladies and gentlemen. Gentlemen, I use that term loosely because I know you're here to see a fight. You're here to see the fur fly. It's a pitch battle. The pitch battle, the highlight of IMARC 2024. Everyone out there in the boondocks, it's pitch battle time. Get your backsides in here. We're going to see the fur fly. Welcome to the Fender Dome. Yes, sponsored by Fender Geophysics and the man himself, Andrew Sloot, over there. Wave an arm up there. Absolutely. Our generous sponsor. Thank you very much. The Fender Dome. I love the sound of that. That's a ripper. The grand final. The pitch battle. The highlight of IMARC. The prestigious event. Oh, 3 top-class companies pitting themselves against a vicious judging panel. Chris was so scared he was going to sit up the back. He didn't want to get too close to you. Yeah. Oh, it's good. It's going to be on. It's going to be on. And the prizes, a fabulous prize. Kimberly told me to say that, didn't you, Kimberly? You did. You did. A speaking gig next year at IMARC 25 plus 2 delegates passes. That's 2 delegate passes. What a prize. What a prize. But what about the honour? What about the pride? What about the prestige? What about the immortality at the Fender Dome? Okay. Who are our judges today? Oh, they're a rough mob. They're a rough mob. But I've worked with them before, so I know you need a chair and a whip to keep them under control. The first, I'd like to introduce Matt Bad Boy Fifield. He's got a black belt in judging. He's from Pacific Road Capital. Paola Rojas, we've seen her up on the stage. You know, she had it ruled here with an iron fist. She may look very delicate and well behaved, but she's an animal in the judging panel. A fierce judge on many levels. And our final judge, I mean, we've got mining royalty as our final judge, Owen Hegarty, founder and legend at EMR Capital. A round of applause. Actually, Owen, you're one of the nicest blokes in mining. What the heck are you doing on my judging panel? You're too nice. Too nice. Oh, enough out of me. Anyway, look, this is going to be a really interesting, I'd call it a hybrid pitch battle. So let's get started. The winner of the first pitch battle of IMARC this year, Glenn Stevens from Coda. Last time he was like eloquence personified, and one of the best pictures I've seen. I don't want to build you up too much there, Chris. Sorry, I did call you Glenn, but that was just to put you off. Get up here. Come on. You've only got 3 minutes. This better be good.
Good afternoon. I recently discovered ChatGPT. First, it was getting it to rewrite a word salad from a young geologist. Since then, I've been using it to rewrite the amazing announcement titles where you only get 60 characters. There's no timer going here. Is there going to be a timer? Do I get a timer? Oh, wonderful. These 60 character limits generally require the poetic majesty of a Japanese haiku master. So I got ChatGPT to write my pitch today. And you know what? It did a marvelous job. It wrote the same pitch that I've heard every pitch battle and speech for the last 15 years of coming to these things. So I Control-Alt-Deleted that. Because you know what ChatGPT can't replace? It can't replace the sheer grit, the tenacity, everything you need to run a junior, because this job kind of sucks. You can't change the rocks. You can't change the commodity markets. You definitely can't change the macro markets. Xi Jinping still won't take my calls. Under this team's watch, though, we've seen the resources grow by 4 times, from 250,000 contained tons at Elizabeth Creek in South Australia to over 1 million tons of contained copper equivalent. Emmy Bluff is the 11th largest copper deposit in Australia, full stop, and that's excluding the cobalt credits and the open pits. We've delivered a processing plan. We've delivered 2 mining plans, one very conventional and one a little bit more out there, but now very well understood and the basis of an enormous amount of independent test work. We also hit an IOCG in the basement in 2021. It shot our share price to the moon, or at least $1.76. Anyone who says it's better to have loved and lost than never loved at all never hit an IOCG in the basement in South Australia just before the complete collapse of funding for exploration companies. IOCG exploration can be very rewarding, but it's also challenging. Our main focus is on the sedimentary copper. We've got 1 million tons in primarily JORC indicated resources. The market's been tough. We just raised $5 million. We've finally got going with new brokers. A study update is on the way. We've got an EV of $10 million, just over, and currently a net present value of pre-tax $826 million. This team is utterly dedicated to moving this project forwards, and make no mistake, that is our absolute steadfast focus. Thank you very much. The drill rigs will be turning soon, study update coming, major news flow, major catalysts as we drive this. We do have some challenges ahead in funding, but I believe we will rise to those. As I said, it's a dedicated team. Hell, we even have our own podcast. And as a podcaster, whilst I may be bald, obnoxious, and completely obsessed with mixed martial arts, sadly, I don't yet have the reach of Joe Rogan. Jokes aside, we've done an enormous amount with this project. We've taken 250,000 tons, turned it into over 1 million tons. I ask you to join this team when looking for copper leverage into this, what is expected to be an incredible market deficit coming. Thank you very much.
Well done. Don't go anywhere. He's going to run away there.
I have questions. I'm scared.
Got some questions for you. Look at them. Look at them. I wonder if they've been fed today. They're looking very, very angry. Yeah. Owen Hegarty, do you have a question here for Chris?
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Chris, by the way. Well done. Or was it Glenn? Chris?
Chris.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
That could be the host's issue over there, getting these word salads mixed up. So, Chris, I have to say, very good presentation. 3 minutes on the spot. Well played there. Like your metals, by the way, copper, gold, cobalt, and silver. Very, very good.
Is there a question in there somewhere, Owen?
No. No,
thinking
of the question, what on earth does IOCG mean? And where's South Australia? Thanks, Chris.
How long have you got? IOCG is without question a nebulous term, and I think somewhat overused between your Gawler Creighton IOCGs, your Queensland-style IOCGs, and many other things in between. Ultimately, and this is a really interesting confluence of copper. The way I say it is there are 3 types of copper on this tenement: a breccia-hosted copper, that's a copper cobalt, but an oxide. You've got the sediment-hosted sulfides, and then you've got the iron oxide copper gold. We have discovered what I believe, and I think is pretty well understood to be the 5th major IOCG system on the Gawler Creighton. We have bornite-dominated intercepts. We have effectively a 2-kilometre corridor bookended by ore-grade intercepts compared to the local ones around. What we didn't yet find was the thickness and the continuity, and IOCG is Apache inherently, to really justify this as a go-forward mining case. Shut the share price up. Funds deserted us from 100 million back down to 20, and it's been a painful ride. The sediment-hosted copper cobalt, over 1 million tons, so that excludes the IOCG. That is our main focus. One day we will get to continue drilling that 2-kilometre undrilled corridor, but the 1 million tons, sometimes seen as a consolation prize, it's not that. That's what we listed off. It's good, solid assets. They will go forwards. Thanks.
Paola, a question.
All right. Yeah, again, I agree with what he said. Good, solid, swing, and just people will remember your energy and, the silliness. It's all good. I wanted to ask, how is this particular IOCG relate to the Chilean ones, because I'm more familiar with those. So do you have any comparisons that you can share?
I'm not a deep expert in sort of the depositional geology of the deposits. However, The main, so the copper cobalt, so the non-IOCG mineralization that we focus on is very geochemically analogous to a couple of projects or a couple of deposits. The Kufa in Poland is probably its closest analog. To the best of my knowledge, this Tapley shale hosted, so it's a dolomitic black shale host. I am not aware of any other occurrences of this anywhere in this country. It is utterly fascinating that nearly all of the known occurrences occur on our tenure at Elizabeth Creek. Again, in terms of geometry and to an extent, although a lesser extent, it is related more to some of the DRC Zambian copper belt deposits. It's like a baby Kamoa-Kakula. Don't get me wrong, I would swap it for Kamoa-Kakula, but from a geometry point of view and from a geochemical point of view, there are quite strong analogues between them. But certainly the Kufa Schaefer is the main one.
Matt, a question from you.
Sure, thanks. Just actually thinking about the process you've been through. You've been up, you've been down. What's the spark that gets you from here to the next landing pad? What are you trying to do within the company and the limited resources that you have? Because the other thing I noticed is your principal deposit, which we're following, is it's deep.
Yep.
Therefore expensive to drill. And I'm curious about, are you trying to bulk out your resources? Are you looking for higher grade? Just talk to me about what gets you from here to the proposition, because your proposition isn't resonating right now in the market. Right. And so what do you think, what do you think you're missing, and how are you going to find it?
The real focus, so we sort of had dual focus. The first is focusing on what we can control. And we internally we call that the relentless forward progress, which is effectively just pushing the project forwards. The two big levers or three big levers you can really pull with this project. The first are copper recoveries. The open pits are a bit ordinary. They're around 65 up to 70%. The underground is around 77. So again, if you can get those recoveries up 5, even 10% across the board, that is a massive increase to the net present value of the project. The other lever is obviously exploration. We've got the drill rigs turning again. So the recovery results will be out soon. We don't have them yet. We're working through that. The drill rigs will be turning, and we're effectively looking for more tons. ME Bluff, the underground, is only about 11 years mine life. So you can add 4 or 5 years mine life before you get MPV'd into nothing with extensions. Beyond that, you're sort of obviously increasing CapEx. So we probably, in the absence of incredible exploration success, wouldn't look to increase the scale of the project in the short term. So those are the things we can control. Copper recoveries, exploration results, and then the integrated optimization of the open pits into the underground, which is still a work in progress and needs more done on it. In terms of the sort of stuff we find it harder to control, obviously the market is one factor. We have spoken to so many groups. We have had, one group would be more than 20 due diligence meetings. I keep joking, we get friend zoned constantly. Everyone says to us, we like your project. The feedback has been, this is a strong project. It has good technical underpinnings. We would just like to see a little bit more on the economics. We'd just like to see you deliver, some of the recovery work, if you can expand the resources as well. And in this market, I think if I was a BD person for one of the funds, my approach would be, well, everyone's getting cheaper. This is not just Coda Minerals. And I think people aren't moving yet. So one of the exogenous factors will clearly be when business development executives and big private equity funds start saying, okay, right, now we need to do something. Everyone wants 50,000 tons of copper. They want a simple concentrate. They want it to be shovel ready within a year. I'd like a golden unicorn with sparkles. But the reality is, if you're looking for that in Australia, you're probably not going to find it. I know every copper deposit in this country, and I don't think that sort of thing exists, really. So the real push here is making sure that, when people start looking, that we're ready. So we're moving approvals, we're getting through. You mentioned the cost of drilling. You're absolutely right. It's only at 400 meters. You can RC, or you can RC with a diamond tail down. It's not like the IOCG drilling. We're not talking $500,000 holes here. No doubt a flat dipping ore body presents challenges when getting met sample variability and geotechnical. We've just raised 5, we've got 7 in the bank. We're able to progress quite a lot of stuff. Most of that will be looking at improving the project. It will also to make sure we've got balance sheet to negotiate with from a position of strength. And to an extent survive until people start putting their hands in their pockets.
Well done. That's it. Thank you very much, Chris. Excellent work. Give him a hand, will you? That's it. Oh, I tell you what, he set a very high bar. It just occurred to me, though, I probably should have explained the rules before when I was having so much fun there. They get 3 minutes to tell their story. It's not enough. It's not enough time at all. It's cruel. It's inhumane. Then I throw to the judges. Each of them asks one question. Blah, blah, blah. We come back again and we get some long-winded response like we got from Chris just then. And then and then at the end, I put the asset on the judges and ask them who they want to vote for. So, thanks. Sorry about that. Now, I've got this is sort of like a hybrid. Through the miracle of modern technology, through high tech, we've got a presentation coming in from Glenn Poole via satellite from somewhere out there in space of Firetail Resources. Are we ready?
And apologies I couldn't be there. I just liked the project so much I had to get back on a plane and get back over there. So I'll be talking about the Skyline Copper Project in Newfoundland, Canada. So the Skyline Copper Project is a Cypress-style VMS, which is typically higher grade than a traditional VMS deposit. It's an advanced high-grade and drill-defined copper, zinc, silver project with over 20 kilometres of drilling already completed across the property. Historic production from 4 levels over 120 years ago extracted around 100,000 tonnes of high-grade copper and zinc. There's been a recent resurgence in exploration in the area with unloved assets off the TSX coming across to the ASX and being rejuvenated and presented in a new light. Newfoundland itself, an excellent place to do work. Lots of infrastructure, sealed roads, power, and we've actually got a sealed road that runs across the northern edge of the property with various tracks into the property itself. Newfoundland, very highly regarded as a mining-friendly jurisdiction, very supportive legislative framework, and a very supportive local skilled labour and support services network on the island. We do have the capacity to work year-round with that road access invaluable, which also services the local community. So the opportunity itself, drilled in the last 5 years with some amazing numbers. Didn't get the recognition on the TSX that it should have through a lack of strategic and methodic exploration and a pathway to defining a resource. A lot of the drilling was limited to the top 200 metres. They were trying to find the high-grade sections so they could cap raise and stay alive. There's a lot of shallow targets that are open at depth and along strike. The mineralisation model indicates that there's potential for additional blind VMS occurrences along the 25 kilometres of prospective strike that we do have, with only around 700 metres effectively tested so far. Firetail's maiden 5,000 metre drill program, which is currently underway, aims to sort of redefine that and put it in a new light, infilling some of the gaps and holes, extending it at depth, and taking a systematic approach to the 75 metre wide corridor that we've identified of enrichment. This will be followed up by targets defined by mapping, geophysics and geochemistry, and we look to keep everyone updated over the next 3 to 4 months as drill results begin coming out and we further understand this deposit. Again, apologies I couldn't be there. I like to be out there on the field and in anticipation of some of the questions from the judges. Great question, glad you asked. The community's been very welcoming of us and they're happy to see us back in the community working and providing local jobs. So we actually stay in the housing at the local community. We've got a repurposed automotive workshop as our core shack. And yeah, they're really happy to see us there. No current resource. The 20 kilometres that's already in the ground plus the extra 10 we plan on doing over the next 6 months should hopefully provide the foundations of a JORC compliant resource that we're comfortable we understand really well. No, I haven't been screeched in. That's on the cards for next week with a conference we have over here on the island that is bringing together all the suppliers, industry and companies that operate in the local area.
Wow. You know, Glenn was so...
Thank you for the very warm introduction and apologies I couldn't be there. I just liked the project so much I had to get back on.
That'll do. Put a line through him. You know, Glenn was so scared of facing up to this judging panel that he ran away and recorded his thing. That's terrible. He also, I've got to tell you now, I'm not meant to tell you this, but he bribed the judges. Look at them. They've got some merch there.
We do have good merch.
Look
Thank
at
you. Thank you. But my question is, what does the community think of? What does the community think of the project?
Well, yeah, we thought the guy was a coward. No, sorry. He couldn't have faced up to you guys. All right, that's our second presenter. Moving right along, our final pitch today. This guy, I didn't disclose this either, is an international grand champion when it comes to pitch battles. He's coming off an undefeated run and took out the London version of the Minds and Money pitch battle. Let's welcome him to the stage, Troy Boisjoli from Atha Energy. 3 minutes.
We do more than just go to conferences. I'll just start with that. Okay. Atha Energy, uranium exploration at scale in the Athabasca Basin in Canada. Very simply, okay, supply-demand fundamentals have been growing in a very robust way over the last decade, and culminating right now in where we're at within a contracting cycle. Long-term contracting cycles drive price appreciation in the uranium space. The last cycle that we're in like this was just prior to 2007. 2007, the price of uranium ran from previous highs of about $35 a pound up to about $138. You know, the pressure on the upside was fundamentally a function of a contracting cycle. We're in a similar period right now. Okay, so the time value of money for a uranium investment, in our view, is very strong, which is why Atha came to market with an at-scale exploration strategy across the Canadian uranium landscape, taking advantage of this window right here between 2024, kind of 2026, to then take advantage of that supply-demand gap that we see going in the 2030s. Okay. And how that's occurring is a portfolio approach. So over the last 12 months, 18 months, we have pulled together 8.5 million acres of exploration property across the best Canadian uranium mining jurisdictions, the Athabasca Basin, largest landholder and asset portfolio in the Athabasca Basin, the Thelon Basin, which is directly analogous to the Athabasca Basin, and the Central Mineral Belt in Labrador. Over the last year, we also acquired 2 other companies. With one of those companies, Latitude Uranium, came the Angulac project. That's our most advanced project to date, 43 million pounds of resources sitting at 0.69% U3O8. From there, you go down, we have a development or a discovery stage project in the Eastern Athabasca Basin that we're drilling on right now. We have a 10% carried interest in a large percentage of NextGen Energy's exploration portfolio, which is unique to us and a very good call option. And we also have a significant portfolio of exploration assets. So how are we adding value? How are we advancing this? It's in a diversified investment strategy internally. So we're investing heavily in our most advanced project. That's Angulac. We just came off a 10,000 meter program there, in which we put 25 drill holes into the ground. Every one of them was step out. We understand, that the path forward, the critical path on that project is scale. So we were target seeking. We understand the envelope of resources that's required to move this thing forward. We stepped out, we tested an envelope of rock, 25 for 25 within that drilling. And so now we have a de-risk path forward and portfolio, or path forward to that resource growth. In addition to that, we're providing torque within the investment portfolio by heavily investing in our exploration portfolio, which is the largest land position in the best uranium jurisdiction in the world. That represents a significant re-rate opportunity as we can.
Time's up. Well done, mate. Excellent work. You
We've
can
got
see
some
why
people too.
he's a global champion. Here, don't you run away. You come back here, because I've got a question from Matt, bad boy, Fifield.
Yeah, I wanted to go back one slide, right? Valuation. So what's the, it's basically what's your value proposition here? Land banks are interesting, right? But what are you doing? You're just hanging on to land. And then also, who owns you? Cash position, some hard numbers.
Sure. I'll do my best right now to convince you we're not a land bank, despite having 8.5 million acres of exploration property. What we're doing is we've advanced Angulac significantly within the last year. Angulac's 43 million pounds, 0.69% U3O8. That's about 16 pounds of uranium per ton. Okay, do the math on that, very high margin rock. I mined it, for Cameco at Eagle Point. That was about $330 a ton kind of range in a similar type operation. So we like that project. The opportunity there is scale, adding scale to that project, moving that forward. And that's the value proposition in the near term, the re-rate. Where the exploration tail comes in is that provides the torque to the upside within the investment strategy and story. Okay, so we haven't sat on our exploration property. We've invested heavily in it. We've done more geophysics and more generative style work and stage work than any other company in the uranium space. And so what we're doing is driving our exploration strategy through that work. Then, you think about, we do have a lot of land, clearly. We're pulling value forward within that portfolio through farm out agreements, et cetera. So we have an exploration strategy that's going through in the short term. Anything that falls outside of that 2 to 3 year window, we've got about $30 million in farm out agreements and growing. In order to maximize discovery potential within this portfolio. Now, who owns us? Who's in? We've got about a $200 million market cap. Right now, we're about 27% institutionally held, about 23% insider held. Some of the founders of the company have had previous success in the basin, vended in the original assets into NextGen Energy. They put together the foundational assets for Atha and our two largest individual shareholders.
Great, well done. Paola.
All right, so tell me the plans for the next 12 months and at that point, what success look like? If it all goes well, if you're, progressing well, what things would look like in a successful way, let's say.
De-risked resource growth. That was the strategy. That's you think about Angulac, 43 million pounds. They're binary. You can either go forward one of two ways: incremental resource growth, or what we chose to do this year was test a big envelope of rock that de-risks that step change in the resource that kicks this project over into a development stage. And so that's exactly what we did. So 2025 resource growth at Angulac. When I look at the business case for that, and really what I believe is an arbitrage. Okay, so you look at past metrics, we believe that we'll be able to build resources for under $1 per pound. You look at the Canadian uranium landscape, and Canadian uranium companies with assets under management trade at a range of $5 to say $11 per pound on an EV per pound basis. And so our opportunity for re-rate and step change within the next 12 months, add resources, move the project forward into a development stage within, call it 12 to 18 months in that time frame, looking for a re-rate in the market as we progress that forward. But importantly, we'll continue to invest in exploration, and that provides asymmetrical upside from an exploration portfolio within this investment.
Good on you, Troy. Well done there. Right basin, the Athabasca, to be in for uranium, world class. So well done. Good location there. Well played. Now, with respect to uranium, it's a little bit of a longer sort of permitting period for various things, particularly getting into production, getting permitted all the way through. Who is actually going to be? Who is the developer? Who is the ultimate owner of this particular project? What did you call it, Angulaska? Or something like that. Who is the actual owner here? Is it going to be Cameco? Is it going to be Rio Tinto? Is it going to be China? Or is it going to be you, Troy?
It's a great question. Right now,
no flattering of the judges, by the way.
Okay, so I'll maybe come at this from a couple angles. Okay, so although we're a new team, new company, we have a team that comes through Cameco, comes through NextGen. That's my history. Arano, etc. We have a group of people that have been through this process before. We've right from early stage exploration right through to production, and our vice president of exploration was the chief geologist that brought Cigar Lake into production for Cameco. So we have an experienced team, but having an experienced team is very different than ultimately building an asset, and we understand that. Just to the north of Angulac, Arano has the Kigavik deposit, and if you follow me for a second here, our strategy that went through acquiring the ground in Nunavut around the Thelon Basin and Angulac ultimately was triggered by the civil unrest in Niger. which doesn't really make sense until you unpack that and think about Orano's production profile. Orano's production profile goes through Mongolia, Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, and Niger, outside of Canada. They have a feasibility stage project just north of us in Kigavik. And so, and right now they're at the stage of returning into resource. They're doing a resource update on that project right now. It's a feasibility stage project. So if we say, well, what would be a natural, there is the third largest uranium mining company in the world that has a feasibility stage project just to the north of us in a new jurisdiction. So I'm not saying that Orano is going to own it. I'm saying that there is a jurisdictional play here with major uranium producers.
Very good. Well, we started in the Athabasca and we ended up in Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, and one or two other stands. So well done there. Trip around the world there, Troy. Well done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Excellent work. Excellent. Well, give him a hand, guys. That was fantastic. Troy, well done. Well, I'll just give the judges a minute to sort of just get their thoughts together a bit there. And
shall we focus? What do you think?
Have a look at who went with the biggest bribe. Who will it be? Who will it be? Will it be the eloquent, in fact, eloquent personified of Chris Stevens of Coda, the home ground champion here, the Aussie battler? Or will we have Troy Boisjoli, Atha Energy, with a uranium tailwind behind him and a $200 million market cap? Who will it be? Who will it be? The judges are conferring a tiny bit. They're weighing the value of the bribes they received here. Oh, get them. Right, ladies first. Here we go. Paola, who got your vote and why?
One by one, yeah. Where you go?
Paola, come on.
Okay, I'm kind of torn between the two that were here. I understand completely that he had to go away, but he lost me.
Rubbish.
He wasn't here.
He's a coward. He didn't want to face you.
So on the one hand, I really like the grit of Chris. I like the fact that he's kind of focusing on copper in a I mean, Australia doesn't have enough copper production, I think, and also I have me and my partners, we have a really good or strong idea that we need to support more small to intermediate producers, because even though I love porphyries, we need copper from different types of sizes of mines, just so that we can get more things across the line through the permitting and so on. So at the same time, I really like the story. Its location is, if you want to do uranium, you have to look at that location. They are a very serious group, and they seem to be super driven as well. So they share that. So that's why I'm torn.
And after all that, who got your vote? I got a vote. Okay, so I'm going to vote for the uranium story. Atha.
Because I think the time for uranium is now, and it's not going to be forever. I mean, long term, yes, it will remain. But I think now there's a lot of work that needs to be done, and copper has more time. That's my vote.
Very, very good. I will leave you to last there. We'll go to Matt, if we could. Who got your money, Matt?
Sure. Just in rapid succession. So Firetail. Now I love swag, and I was really appreciative of this, but I think that taking swag from a pre-resource company, that was that sort of, for me, I was like, nope. Okay.
Beyond the pale.
Right. And then I would look at the other two, and I would say, the question is if I'm going to invest a lot of money, or if I'm going to invest a little bit of money, and then also what are the outs. So Chris, with your project, you need to generate your next out with what's happening here. And to me, the focus is on sedimentary copper, and you should be saying, this is the bridge to something big, and all the rest of it is noise, or get rid of it, right? And so therefore, you should be saying, I want to attract a lot of money in order to give you the confidence of the out. But basically the next money in needs to create your out. But Troy, you have a lot of outs, right? Which is to say, my project is I'm gonna spin this project, I'm gonna farm it in, farm it out, and uranium interest is on an all-time high. So at the end of the day, because of the more outs and the fact that you didn't construct a bridge for me as an investor as to how you're gonna risk mitigate, if you'd said, hey, I'm gonna raise $50 million in XYZ, that's my bridge out. So I would say, Troy, you have my vote.
Atha. Owen, you don't get a casting vote, but I want to hear from you, mate.
So, okay. Location. Absolutely brilliant. South Australia, wonderful place to be. Probably the best jurisdiction on the planet, for sure. We still hold the world record, the mighty Ox, from discovery through to first production, 7 years in South Australia. Great group of people, so it's a wonderful place to be. And if you're hunting IOCGs, whatever they are, and or IOCGUs, and sedimentary hosted Zambian style copper, all very good. So a great place to be, South Australia. Some of our best friends actually come from South Australia. So well done, Chris. Really good. Love Troy's Athabasca Basin. What a place to be. Nothing better. And the Firetail, of course, up there, Newfoundland and Labrador. So absolutely brilliant. So the winner is my vote goes to Richard Morrow.
Oh, here we go. And of course, I declare our leader, our winner today, a global world champion now. You've won on 2 continents. Get up here and take the accolades, Troy. Come on. Very, very good. I would have I'll have a letter to give you to invite you back next year, mate. Well done.
Thank you very much.
I'll give you the.
Hey, it's great fun doing these things, and a great opportunity to tell the story. So really appreciate the judges' participation in this, and the host for hosting it. Great job.
Thank you, mate. Good on you. Well done, Richard. Round of applause. Thank you. Thanks to our winner. And now it leaves to me to thank our judging panel, Owen Hegarty, Paola Rojas, and Matt Fifield. Thank you very much. And thank you, Chris, for the most eloquent presentation ever. Just didn't get the chocolates. Thanks, mate.